And nice to meet you, Camilla.
Nice to meet you too.
We wish we were doing all this in person, but we're really happy we could work it out like this.
Yeah, I mean, this seems to be a very cool way to do it, but yeah.
All right.
Yes.
And I am now the host. Super. I think we'll just give it another 2 minutes, Camilla. And what's going to happen in terms of questions, we're going to be able to see them on our end, and Maya will then read them up whenever you get to a point where you're ready to answer questions, just within those 15 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, great. I thought I had to find them myself and
no.
read them. Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, we got it.
As far as I can see, we're live.
Okay.
Nice.
Super. We'll just give it another minute. Super. All right. Hit 4 o'clock. So we'd like to welcome everybody who is attending this live stream. We are broadcasting, Maya and myself, Nicholas, from the Maris Tower in Panum, Copenhagen University. And just to make sure you're in the right auditorium that you want to be in, this is Auditorium 1. And we will be hearing from a variety of different companies over the next 2 hours. So firstly, we'd also like to say thank you to our official Synapse partners who are presenting during the plenary session, and to Matthias and Jumana from Synapse for hosting this session. So at this point, I think if you're ready, Camilla, we'd like to let you take the floor. And Camilla Mortensen is joining us from IDA and is a legal consultant there. So I will promote you to host, and you should be able to share your screen.
Okay, great. Let me see here if I'm doing it correctly. Can you see my screen?
It's coming through.
Great. Okay, I'm just gonna put it up here and start the slideshow. Okay, well, welcome everybody. My name is Camilla and I work as a legal consultant in IDA. And today I'm gonna talk to you a little about salary and salary negotiation. I could talk about this topic for hours, but I only have a few minutes. So this is gonna be like a sneak peek to just get you started thinking about salary and what you have to be aware of, and hopefully see also what IDA can provide you with. And please feel free to ask all the questions that you might have. I will try to make room for it at the end of this presentation. But let's begin. So first, what do you need to know about salary? Well, first of all, in Denmark, we don't have any minimum wage. We don't have any security net in regards to salary. There is no rule book. So it almost is always up to negotiation, and you're daring to negotiate. Salary varies a lot depending on if you're employed in the private or in the public sector. In the public sector, salary is fixed by collective agreements. So between the parties, they have decided kind of some steps for the salary. And the way the salary is built up in the public sector is that you have a basic net salary, which is based on your seniority. So based on how long you've been employed, you go up a step in the basic salary. And those are totally based on the collective agreement. You can't negotiate that. Besides the basic net salary, you also get various supplements. There are some that are also decided by the collective agreements, and then there are some supplements that you actually can negotiate about. It's a small amount, a small addition to your salary, and it's based on your competence and what you work with. It's not something you actually negotiate yourself. You do have what is called a shop steward, which is kind of like a representative from EDA or or another trade union that will negotiate on your behalf. Besides the basic salary and the supplements, you also get pension, which is also governed by the collective agreement, and it varies. It's a very high pension contribution. For instance, in the government, it's 17.1% that you get in addition to your salary. It's totally different in the private sector. Here, it's all up for individual negotiation. We have some collective agreements in the private sector as well, but for academics like you, there isn't a lot. And a lot of the collective agreement doesn't really have specific numbers for the salary. They do regulate kind of the process of salary negotiation, but not about what the salary should be. So again, it is individual negotiation. And it is a gross salary. It's not that normal that you get supplements. And also when you negotiate, you do negotiate including pension typically. So you have to think about that when you talk salary in the private sector, that you can't forget about pension, because that might be within the amount. And pension varies a lot in the private sector. The most common one we see is that you in total pay 12% to pension, where 8% is employer paid and 4% is paid by you as the employee. Yeah, so that is kind of the difference. So, well, how do you actually determine the correct salary? I guess that would be something that you would be, or how do you do that? So the most important thing is that you have to find your market value. Yeah, Camilla, and how do I do that? So step one is that you look at the relevant salary statistics. And if you're a member of EDA, you can access our salary tools. EDA has salary statistics that each year we get all our members who wants to participate to inform us about our salary. And based on that, we make a statistic so we can advise you about what should you expect in salary. We also have a salary calculator where you can type different parameters in. For instance, what is the specific position? What is the branch of study that you have, or the line of business of the company, or where in Denmark is it? And all those factors into what your salary could be. Also, we have a company statistic that shows where the company is based on the market overall. So you can see, is this a company that pay a lot, or is this under the market value? And you can become an EDA member, a student member, for free for 12 months, and then you have to only pay 20 kroners. And then you both get our legal advisors to help you, but you can also use our career advisors and all the other benefits that you get in EDA. So it's not a lot for a lot of benefits. So that would be step one. Step two is that you then qualify your proposal in relation to the statistics. So you get all the numbers, and then you have to figure out, well, where should I place myself? Am I an average person, or do I have a lot of experience that will place me higher? And I have just written some of the questions you can ask yourself. For instance, have you been headhunted? If you are not applying for the job yourself, but someone is writing to you on LinkedIn, you're in a pretty good negotiation position. And of course, therefore, you can ask for more. Do you have a student job that is relevant for the job you're applying for? Then you also can ask for a little bit more. Maybe the company is doing very well, or it's growing. They might have more capital to pay you. Also, are you the right person that they're actually seeking for? Have you studied a small branch that not a lot of you have studied? You might be very attractive for an employer, and they're willing to pay more for you. And also, what are the company's recruitment opportunities? Is there a lot of jobs within the same field at that time you're applying, or is there a small field? And these are some of the things that we can also guide you with to figure out kind of where you should be placed salary-wise. So When you have done that, you found your market value, then you need to actually try to negotiate. And here I've just written some few tips. And again, I have a lot. So this is just some that I want to just enhance for you right now. First of all, it's a good idea to put your number out first. So don't wait. Don't say, oh, well, employer, what do you want to pay me? Don't be afraid to start out, because when you start out, you set the range. So you will be able to set the bar high instead of letting your employer start the bar low. When you come with your number, don't use a range. If you say 30 to 35, your employer already hears that you're willing to say yes to 30, and that will be where you're going to end at. So it's okay to have like a minimum that you're willing to say yes to, but keep it to yourself. Say a precise number instead. It's also a good idea to ask for more than you want. You have to make room for negotiation. If you want your future employer to move from their first offer, you need to be able to do that as well. Also be kind, but be firm. Remember that if this is going to work out, you actually have to work afterwards. So it doesn't make any sense if you're too harsh, or if you're not being happy and trying to figure out a solution. But also be firm. Believe that you're worth the number that you're saying, because the other party is going to feel it right away if you're unsure about what you're asking for. So what I always say to my members is that stare at that number in the calculator and just say, well, I'm worth that. Just stare at it a lot. And then somewhere along the way, you're going to realize, okay, I'm actually worth that number. It's also a good idea to have a few good arguments ready. So that could, for instance, be that you had a study relevant job. Maybe you wrote a master thesis that is relevant for the company, that they might be interested in you for that reason. Only have a few, because it needs to be the best. Also, don't be afraid of the no. It is typical in a negotiation, especially a salary negotiation. There's going to be a lot of no. Don't be afraid of it. Use it and ask about it. So if your employer says no, ask, why are you saying no? Get some information so you have something to work with in the negotiation. It's also a good idea to be creative and think about alternatives to the salary. So maybe you're interested in getting more paid holiday, or maybe you're interested in getting more flexible working hours, have an opportunity to work from home. You may also be interested in some extra education, or maybe you're interested in getting a paid phone or paid internet at home. Try to be creative and bring that into the salary negotiation as well. And then, of course, it's important that you do prioritize your request. So if you have different options that you want to bring into the negotiations, then try to figure out and prioritize them. So the first one you're mentioning is actually the one you want the most. So you don't use a lot of energy on getting maybe a paid phone, and then you get that, but you already have a phone, and maybe that's not that important to you. And then you mention the next request that you have, and your employer say, well, I've already said yes to the phone, so I can't give you this. Well, that sucks, because you could have changed it around. So be aware of that as well. So that is all. I can see my time is also coming up, and I really want to have time for questions as well, if there is any questions. Maybe you've prepared something from the get-go, but this is kind of my sneak peek, my tips of what you should be aware of. And remember that this is what EDA specialize in. This is what we can help you with. So please make sure, become a member. Right now, if you do apply for membership today via our EDA site on Graduate Land, you can actually get a gift card for academic books for a worth of 500 kroner. So bonus as well. Yeah. So is there any questions?
So Maya?
We haven't received any questions.
Okay.
So yeah, so I guess at this point there's no questions on the live forum here, but perhaps people have and can still sign up for the one-to-ones. with some of your colleagues who are sitting
Definitely.
time as well. But thank you so much, Camilla, for this presentation coming to us from Ida, an official Synapse partner.
Yes.
We really appreciate it. These are some excellent tips, I think, as many of us go into the first time that we attempt to negotiate a salary like this.
Yeah.
Very
And
valuable.
it's very scary. So I get that's why it's so difficult. So hopefully you can use some of these tips.
Certainly, and just hang on, we did get one question here.
We just received one question. So Sarah Vangsgaard asks, what would some good arguments be if you come directly from university having no experience, etc.?
Yeah, good. That's a great question, because that's what a lot of our members might also feel like, well, I have nothing to negotiate, so shouldn't I just say yes to whatever they're offering me? Well, first of all, when you look at, a good thing is that you look at the statistics, so you can actually balance their offer with the market value. It is something you can mention, that you're aware of the market value and what the statistic says. So that's one thing that you can't bring into if you don't have a lot of arguments. Another thing is, as I said, if you've had a student relevant job, and it can also be if you work as in customer service, if you have to do with clients in your work, that can be relevant for the job. So that could be something you can mention, even though it may not be within the line of business that you're going to be working with. And also if you take in specific course, or if you've written a thesis or any other subject about it, that might also be something that the employer could be interested in, and why they have specifically chosen you.
That's fantastic, Camilla. I'm sorry to cut you off.
It's okay.
But we'll have to leave it at that for now. But to all of our attendees out there, we definitely invite you to contact Ida, either to sign up with them, or certainly now can have a chat with some of Camilla's colleagues one-to-one. So thank you very much, Camilla. And if you would relinquish the...
Stop sharing. Yeah.
And I think you have to...
Oh, do I have to do anything else?
Stop hosting as well. I think if you hover over my name, mine and Maya's name, and you can more tab, press on more.
Yeah.
Does it say make host?
Yeah, it does.
Super. Thank you. All right, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Camilla.
You're welcome.
All right. And now we will be joined by Christine Garde, and I will make you host now.
Yes.
All right, Christine, joining us from DTU Skylabs, where you're a team manager at the lab and workshops. So
yeah,
welcome.
Sure. Thank you very much. And now I can share my screen, right?
Yes, you should be able to.
Like this. Okay, does it work?
It's working.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and thank you for your invitation to give me a chance to tell more about the DTU Skylab and the offer that we have for students, both from DTU, but also from students from other universities in Denmark. So I'd like to give you a brief introduction to DTU Skylab and what we can offer, and hopefully some of you will reach out afterwards. So DTU Skylab actually is a house in Lyngby, and it's what we call a learning and innovation environment. This is where students and also DTU staff can come and learn how to work with entrepreneurship and innovation, either through doing it themselves or by joining other teams and try out to make a startup or work with projects that hopefully should go towards a business. So this is, as I said, a house where you have the possibilities of being challenged and also hopefully thrilled or interested to work more with this. So we are actually right now the third generation of the house. We started out in 2013. It was in a basement in a house at Lyngby, where we were told to sort of build this house where we could sort of involve students or make them interested in making working entrepreneurships and making more startups. And we just started up having a machine shop and then having like what we call open space where people could come and work. And very quickly we grown too big, so we moved into the second house, and that was in 2016. And at that time we then was called the Student Innovation House. We had 2,500 square meters, where we had different kinds of labs and shops, and still again we had this open space for inviting students, but also had the facility for being more professional, having you could say meeting rooms, having coaches, and all sort of having all around what is necessary to be a professional or look like a professional company. So and very fast we also found out that we were so successful, so we grown too big. So now we have just opened a new house that is in connection with the other house, a new Skylab 3.0 we call, and that now we have moved into more becoming a tech innovation hub with many more facilities that we had earlier, and I will go through those together with you. So what do we have? We have what we call, as I said, facilities, and these facilities is for doing prototyping or work on specific products within many different topics covered by engineers or engineering in general. Then we have programs, you could say, programs that stimulates the students and encourage them to work on their idea. And then we also have what we call community. And actually that's a very important part of this house, that we have the community part, that everyone, we normally say that the house is for the students, so the students is yours, you can say. And we really try to reach out for people to come and join us in our house, use the facility, come and work, share knowledge, because we know that we can learn very much from each other by sharing knowledge, and also be very open about what we are working on, and also the failure that we do. So we kind of celebrate also the failure that people does in their project. So we sort of celebrate and say that that's also a milestone to reach, to find out that you have to kill your baby. So as I said, we today regard ourselves as an international hub for technology-based innovation and entrepreneurship. And we have different kind of activities in the house beside the facilities. We also try to host events and have delegations from abroad to come and see how we work, and invite for both companies as well as universities, but also it could also be representatives from authorities or municipalities. So we sort of try to reach out for the whole ecosystem. So to be more precise, if I start from the right, we have what we call educational activities. The way that we try to make people aware of what we're doing and start to show interest for entrepreneurship and innovation in general is to invite courses, primary from PTU, invite them to host, or that they can have their courses in our facility. We have 2 auditoriums where courses are given all through the weeks, and people or the students that are taught there can stay in the environment and either work on their project, whether it's like just on the PC, or if they have like product that should be or hardware or specific product that they need to work on in some of the facilities, either the shops or the labs, they can also do that. Then we also have what we call company collaborations. We have a lot of projects in the house that sort of inspire the students to work with a real life challenge. So we have what we call sprints, and we have hackathons where companies come up with a challenge that students can work on. And we have also what we call startup support. So if you are a startup or you have an idea of making a startup or a company, you can always reach out and have some kind of startup support starting out by booking a startup coach at our homepage. You can say that we have 3 legs that we stand on. One thing is a small scale testing, where we try to do test prototypes and learn from the failure that we have there. We have certain facilities where you can build these solutions. Then we very much also would like to engage the users or the students by building partnerships, either with other startups or by, as I said, authorities or larger companies or companies in general. It could also be SMEs. And also we focus very much on people, on the mindset of the culture of the house. So the house is both for student and researchers. We are original primary for DTU relatives, but we also have some project that reach out of DTU that also is something that we offer for other students from other universities. But and you can learn much more about that if you go and visit our homepage. So if we talk about technology, we have, as I said, a wide range of technology support, and that could either be for an idea or for a project and a startup. And what is very specific about these workshops are that they are manned with highly skilled experts. So they'll be ready to assist you and also challenge your solution. And you can also just be inspired by come and join some of the events or the tutorials that we host in the labs. I try to set up the 5 main topics that we work on, and we both work on sustainable food system and manufacturing and prototyping. But what might be of biggest interest for you or for the audience today will be our activities within natural science and also digitalization. If we first turn to natural science, we have 4 different labs that support this. Right now, we are starting up a GMO lab where we are able to work on molecular biology. We have a technician who has a long experience of working with the GMO at hospitals, so she can assist and assist you in doing experiments, and also how to set up trials and how to document your trials. And she have a large network that also will be open, or that she would like to assist you to tap into. We also have a chemical lab where we of course work with chemistry. Then we also have a food lab where we work on what we call microfood, the future food, but also fermentation. And then last but not least, we have what we call multilab, and this is a lab facility where we are able to combine many of those different topics that we are working on in the other facilities. Besides what I just mentioned here, we also have shops where we have rapid prototyping, where we have 3D printers, we have laser cutters, and these facilities are available 24/7. For those laboratories, you can only be there when the personnel are there. So it will be normal opening hours. But the other facilities, as I said, for the rapid prototyping and also the wood shop and also electronics, you're able to use 24/7. And if you're a D2 student, you can just use your student card. Or if you're a student coming from outside, if you team up with some D2 students, you're also allowed to be a part of the house and common user facilities. So as I said, the multi-lab is where we are trying to combine. So here you can work on biotechnology, sensory, photonics. We're planning to set up an artificial sun based on LED. We work on health tech, machine learning also. So there's a lot of possibilities. You can either go in the labs, or we also have the places where you can build your own products or prototypes as well.
Christine, sorry to interject.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give a 1-minute warning here.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. I'm almost there. So, and the second one that also might be of interest for you is the digitalization activities. We have a course right now, biomedical prototyping, where the students are building a fluorescence microscope, and we also have some activities where we have hackathons and sprints working with health tech together with the industry partners. So this was just a brief introduction to D2 Skylab, and I'll suggest that you go and visit our homepage, or please reach out for me if what I've been telling you about could be of any interest. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christine.
Yeah.
This was really fascinating, and I know I, for one, really look forward to exploring the new Skylab as well. I was at the old one, and it was a fantastic experience. And congratulations to you and your colleagues at DTU as well for the recent accolade of being #2 in World Research University rankings.
Thank you.
Comes down a lot to, I guess, the collaboration and interdisciplinarity, as you've demonstrated through Skylab as well. Yeah. So we don't have any questions from the live page here, but anyone who's tuning in right now would like to speak more to some of Christina's colleagues from DTU, we please refer you to sign up for some of the remaining one-to-one sessions.
Sure. Okay. Thank you very much. I'll stop. So now I'm stop sharing, right?
Yes, and I think I can take over here. Or if you would be able to hover over my name on the side, then you can see it says more. And you'll pass the host rights to me. Graduate land.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, super. Promote to panelist.
Yes.
Okay, and sorry about the hold up here. We had a few technical issues, but now joining us from Emendo Research and Development, we have Pernille Bonner, who is Scientific Junior Consultant, and Morten Alhed, who is Managing Partner. And are you able to share your screen? Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think we are all ready to rock and roll. Hey, I'm here with my colleague Pernille, and I'm Morten, and thank you for the introduction. We will give a very brief intro to Emendo Consulting Group, but we will focus on one of the companies within the consulting group, which is called Emendo Research and Development. And after the short introduction, I will give the word to Pernille, who will give a story about how she started in Emendo and the first 9 months of her career here. So Yeah, so Imendo Consulting Group is a group of specialized consultancies that supports the pharmaceutical life science. We are roughly 90 people hired here, and we are growing every day. I think this week we hired and say hi to 5 new people. So we are really growing these days. We cover research, development, design, engineering, project consulting, implementation, improvement, and we have a spin-off company called Blackbird, which is doing smart data collection. I will encourage you guys to look at our webpage for more information or follow us on LinkedIn. As mentioned, we are representing Imendo Research and Development. So a bit more on Imendo Research and Development is that we are a specialized company doing consultancy within, as the name says, research and development. And we basically covers the entire development process from basic research, scientific consulting, technology evaluation, method development, and all the way through clinical trials to regulatory approval of the manufacturing and the drug. So we cover everything. We have microbiologists, we have chemists, we have design control specialists. We hire a lot of different people, but common for all of our employees are that they have a scientific background and they are outgoing personality, so they can engage with the customers and how they need it. So I encourage you guys to look at our webpage and our LinkedIn. But with these words, I'll give the word to Pernille, who will give an introduction to herself.
Thank you. So as Morten said, my name is Pernille. I have been a scientific junior consultant in Imendo R&D for right about 9 months. I want to start a little bit earlier than that. So back in 2014, I started my bachelor's degree in human life science engineering at DTU. I knew the importance of work experience within our industry, so I started looking for jobs quite early. I had some student assistant in jobs in different companies, but in 2017, I had my first student position in a pharmaceutical company. So I worked in the process development team in Bavarian Nordic, where I did tasks such as data reviewing, data collecting, data analysis, report writing, stuff like that. And in Imendo R&D, I actually met Morten, who was working there as a consultant, Morten, who was here before. And Morten, he introduced me to Imendo R&D and consultancy within our industry. After working 2 years in Bavarian Nordic, I applied for a project management internship in Novo Nordisk. Here I did management and strategic communication tasks within clinical trials. So it was quite different from my previous student job. And after 6 months, as it was an internship, it ended. I started writing my thesis at the National Food Institute. And in January this year, I finished my master's degree in pharmaceutical design and engineering. Prior to finishing my degree, I called Morten and I asked him about the position, or I asked him about how it is being a consultant in our industry and what my opportunities were in Imendo R&D. And obviously he persuaded me, because straight after the call, I applied for the position as a scientific junior consultant. And here I am today. Sorry, I'm going a little bit fast. I don't think we have a lot of time, but I just want to tell you about my journey of being a scientific junior consultant. I started straight away on a project together with Morten, where we had to optimize an old pharmaceutical process. There was a lot of problems with this process. It was very expensive. It had a high scrap rate. It was a very manual process, and there was only limited development data available. So my tasks and responsibilities started in the small. So I started out by participating in meetings together with Morten, taking notes, starting to really understand the industry and of course understand the customer. So I did a lot of everyday project support to Morten. But quite quick, I started getting more and more responsibility. I started out being responsible for mapping the entire pharmaceutical process, which was something that I had to learn, because during my studies, I had never done process mapping in this detailed level before. Then I became responsible for the criticality assessment of all parameters in this pharmaceutical process, where we evaluated all uncertainties and gaps to be able to prioritize the actual problem. During this phase, I had my very own first full-day workshop together with the customer. We were 8 participants. Morten, he was there supporting me in case I needed help. But other than that, it was my workshop. And I remember it was a very big step having to have my own workshop And it felt quite uncomfortable, to be honest. But I ended up really enjoying it, and it went very well. And that is something you have to be able to do as a consultant. Just go for it, even though it might feel uncomfortable. So to be able to reduce these uncertainties and gaps, we had to perform statistical analysis and systematic root cause analysis. And for me, I never had any statistics course during my studies, so that was something that I had to learn. So I had to learn statistics using online courses and books and stuff like that. So in the Mentor R&D, there is an expectation that one is constantly developing. So you have to be able to acquire new skills and also feel quite comfortable about it. Next, I became responsible for my own little project, having my own project group and working with experts from different areas. Freeze-dry experts, virus experts, you name it. That is really inspiring when you come straight from university. During this phase, I was allowed to go inside the production to observe this old pharmaceutical process happening. And a big part of being a consultant is actually observing what is actually happening in the process and not just what is supposed to happen. And that is what we call process confirmation. At some point, we started making small changes to this process to start to actually optimize the process. And now we have also implemented a few in-process controls. We are finalizing our project by implementing a control strategy to be able to facilitate and keep this old pharmaceutical process in control. And finally, when making changes to a pharmaceutical process, it might also be needed to update the regulatory file. So I've had meetings with the regulatory department discussing these changes. So as you can see, I have performed so many different tasks in many different areas, and I've engaged with so many different stakeholders. And on top of that, my level of responsibility has increased gradually. Here at the end, I just want to talk a little bit about some of the expectations and concerns I had, the mindset you need to have as a consultant, and what you can expect being a part of a Mentor R&D. So first of all, I had an expectation that I would touch base on many different things. During my studies, I never really knew what I wanted to do for after studies. And that was one of the main reasons why I looked into consultancy, because I wanted to try different things. And yes, that is definitely true. I have come across many different areas, as I hope you saw on the previous slide, and I've only been here for 9 months. Also, one of my biggest concerns was that I would not need nor use my pharmaceutical background. I was a little bit afraid that it was going to be all lean work. But no, that is definitely not true. First of all, I use my pharmaceutical background all the time. And on top of that, I actually have to keep building on my pharmaceutical knowledge to keep up. So I have to keep educating myself. Moving on to the mindset. As a junior consultant, I have experienced a very steep learning curve. So you have to be willing to learn and also feel quite comfortable about it. Also, it is a big plus if you're outgoing and social, as we do meet a lot of new people all the time. A big part of being a consultant is doing presentations, doing workshops, stuff like that. So it's quite important that you feel comfortable presenting to other people. For me, that was something that I had to learn. During my studies, I always hated doing presentations, and I got so nervous and I prepared for several days or even weeks. But that's simply not possible in this industry. And finally, you have to enjoy being challenged and like a changing mindset, because our projects are never the same. And on top of that, your projects do change quite often. Finally, what can you expect being a part of a Mendo? So first of all, it is a very social environment. We are very close to our colleagues, which is something I truly enjoy. And second, you can expect continuous development. In a Mentor R&D, we would like everyone to start broad by encountering many different topics and areas. And then at some point, you start specializing in some area of interest. So our goal is that everyone gets certified in something. So everyone has an anchor point, but with a very broad knowledge. So here at the end, I just want to summarize everything. For me, Mentor R&D has been the perfect start in the industry because I've come across so many different areas. I've been challenged so many times. I've been out of my comfort zone more times than I can count. I've met so many clever people and learned so many new things. But most importantly, I really feel like that if you want to learn new things, if you want to get responsibility, then you can definitely do that here. So that is all for me.
Thank you so much, Pernille and Morten. We really appreciate you helping us keep our timeline here, and we apologize for the technical problems right at the beginning of the presentation. But to all our attendees out there, we advise you to set up a one-to-one session with Imindo Research and Development, and thank you so much. I will move on to our next company now. Thank you, Pernille and Morten.
Mm.
All right. And now we have Nadia Storm from Sundhub at Copenhagen University, who is Chief Consultant, Innovation and External Relations responsible. Can you hear me, Nadia? Can see you're sharing the screen.
Yes, I can hear you.
Super. Okay, and the screen is shared. The floor is yours. Thank you.
All right. So thank you very much. And I represent the Sundhub at Copenhagen University, which is a student hub where people can come with ideas and also without ideas to learn about innovation and entrepreneurship. So this is not like offering jobs, but this is more how you become a master of innovation and entrepreneurship, and also maybe develop some of the skills that you need in your future that you may not learn in the regular courses at your education. So who are we at Sundhub? Sundhub consists of 3 people. This is Peter and Anna, and they are busy today with running some programs. So I am just here representing it. And we work with idea creation and development. We have some incubation programs for students. We have some business development help and support. We do competence development, and then we also run some ECTS awarding innovation projects so that you can actually gain ECTS points for doing a project in your own startup or in other people's startups. Just here in this slide is some of the examples of the people that have gone through the programs in the Sundhub, and you can. This is just some of them. We have a lot of teams every year coming through in either one of the programs or as individuals, where they team up with other people or they share ideas and stuff, and then find a team in the Sundhub and then create a business out of that. And this is just some of them, and it's very different fields, but all within health and life sciences. But the Sundhub is open for students from all universities. It's just we focus more on this health and life sciences in this part. And then what do we actually do? So we try to prepare students for the changing job market of the future, and we have various programs. One of them is Challenge Track, which is a 10 weeks program consisting of 6 workshops. And this is for curious students about innovation and entrepreneurship, where you will learn some of the methods. You will be taken through this 6-step program that you can see in the bottom of the presentation, where we will start with some matchmaking. Then we will look at the needs and the problems. We will get some ideas of how to solve the problems. We will look at some solutions, and then we will look at how to communicate your actual idea or message that you want to do. And then it all ends with a final a pitch competition at the end. Then the next program is actually one that follows the other one, which is called Health Innovators. It's a 10 weeks program where you will go through these 7 steps. So here you apply with an idea of something that you want to do better, or if you have identified a problem or need, and then you will be in a team, and then you work through this kind of program to develop your idea. You get some help with the development, the market and business models and analysis, how to get on market, how to raise funding, resources. You get some pitch training, and then it all ends with a grand final at the end of the program. And then there's the last program that we have, which is our incubator program, where you are incubated in the hub for 12 months, where you can come at our office facilities, you can use them, you can sit there. There are some boot camps and some workshops during the program, but most of the time you will just be there, work with your team. There will be a lot of experts that you can ask for help. We have a panel of experts that are volunteering to help you with, like, for example, really creating your idea and making your idea into a business. We can work with funding. We help you with applying for some of the early stuff funding. We also look at team, vision, storytelling, and these things. So this is basically going through like developing your idea into something that is ready for the market. And then there's the last thing that we do is that we facilitate this internship in a startup where you gain ECTS points for doing a part of your, it can be a course or it can be a part of your master's thesis. You can incorporate that into your own startup or someone else's startup, and you gain ECTS points for that. And this is where we live. We live in the old people's town, or De Gamles By, at Nørre Allé, right across the street from Panum. And we have these 400 square meters office space where there are meeting rooms, and we have some prototyping facilities. We have a 3D printer and stuff like that. There's kitchen where you can store your food, coffee, tea. You can hang out in all the rooms as much as you want. Of course, right now, due to the corona, we are restricted a little bit, but it's not closed. It's still open. And then we have access to these domain experts that I talked about before, where you can get financial advisory, you can get advices about patenting, and like regulatory affairs, like medical technologies and stuff like that. And then we host some events and social get-togethers, networking and stuff like that. And if you want to hear more or learn more about what we do or talk to us, here are the contact informations in the bottom, and you're always welcome to contact us. And that was it from me.
All right, Nadia, thank you so much for this presentation. And I can personally vouch for as well that the programs are very exciting and very rich in learning. I participated in Health Innovators last fall. So at this point, we don't have any questions coming from the live forum in here, but to all attendees tuning in out there, please do contact SundHub in a one-to-one session on the Graduate Land platform. So at this point, I think, are there any questions that came through?
Oh,
okay,
just one showed up.
We have a question.
Yeah. So Azalea asked, can your legal team help with how to overcome obstacles regarding legislation? For example, opening a GMO lab?
Well, I don't think that is something that can be done very quickly, because like opening up a lab, it requires a whole legal team, I would assume, or a whole regulatory team to have everything improved. So they cannot do that for free, but we can definitely put you in contact with some people that knows, and we also have some good deals with them so that we can help. But you are welcome to come by, and I'm happy to take a meeting with you, and then we can see how we can help you in the best way.
All right, superb. Okay, so I think that's it. Oh, no,
Thank you for the answer.
Yes, we got to thank you in here. But yeah, at this point, attendees out there, unless you have any more questions, write them quickly here. Otherwise, sign up for a one-to-one session with SundHub on Graduate Land. And other than that, please at this point migrate to another auditorium or stay in Auditorium 1 here. We'll be hearing from Novo Nordisk next.
So I can leave now.
So yes,
okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, Nadia. Hej Maria Bjerg.
Hej så.
Hej. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Forum. We'll just give it another minute to allow folks to migrate into Auditorium 1.
Yes, of course. So you just say the word to when I should share my screen?
Will do.
Perfect. And do you recommend for me starting the video?
Yeah, if you're ready, you're welcome to start your video. That would be fantastic.
Yes, I just realized that it wasn't on. So
yeah, just to have a reference point.
Oh,
yeah,
there you go.
There we are. That's good. But yeah, no, at this point, I think we can say that everyone is here. So would like to introduce Maria Bjerg from Novo Nordisk, who is OFP Manufacturing Development. And this is, OFP stands for, I'm sure we'll learn.
Yes, I can also say it right now. It stands for Oral Finished Products. So it's our tablet production.
Okay, fantastic. The floor is yours, Maria.
Thank you. And I will just start by sharing my screen. So I hope that you can see my presentation now.
We can see it. Thank you.
Perfect. So should I wait to 5 o'clock or?
No, you're welcome to go now.
Perfect. So first of all, thank you so much for joining this presentation, which is actually very ego-centered and only about my career at Novo Nordisk. So yes, thank you for joining. And if you have any question, just write them during this presentation, and I hope we have time for a few questions afterwards. So today I will actually just talk about my career. I will talk a bit about the education that got me here and my way into Novo Nordisk, and also my first job as a production supporter in OFP Manufacturing Development, also all finished products, so which is actually our area where we produce tablets for diabetes. So a quite new area to Novo Nordisk. Yes, so first of all, just very shortly about my education, which choices I made, and also some of the considerations I made along the way. So in 2011, I started the education pharmacy at Southern University of Denmark på Fyn, where I spent 3 years getting my bachelor degree in pharmacy, where I did a bachelor project with focus on actually medicinal chemistry and chemical synthesis. Then after my bachelor in pharmacy, in SDU, you actually have to choose whether you would have a focus on technological pharmacy or clinical pharmacy. And I chose the more technical way, where there were a bit more focus on experimental designing and production in sterile environment and so. But first of all, let me say I made this decision 100% based on interest. So I actually didn't have in mind which job I could use or take up when I was finished. I just choose what I found the most interesting at the time. Then as a pharmacist, you also have to have an internship at a pharmacy. So I had a 6 months internship at the pharmacy called Sønderbro Apotek in Amager. And then after my internship, I did a master project at Lundbeck, so a collaboration master project, where some of it were at the university and some of it were in Lundbeck. And this master project had focused on drug transporters, drug-drug interaction, in vitro, in vivo experiments, and so. So very technical master project as well. So luckily in 2016, I got my master's in pharmacy. And then I stood there brand new pharmacy and was thinking, then what? I will just start by saying that all these 5 years I went in was in the university, I actually thought that I was going to have a PhD afterwards, because that's kind of the environment you grow up in at the university, this very laboratory world. So it's just seemed like I would almost say, only thing to do after your master thesis. But actually, during my master project at Lundbeck, I found that there were so many options to do after you finish your education. So that led me to apply for various positions at Novo Nordisk, and actually got this first job as a production supporter in Novo Nordisk in this all finished product area. So that is also what I'm going to talk about today, this production supporter role and how my first job here at Novo Nordisk was and what I gained from it. Yes. So the first job, as I said, was actually as this production supporter at All Finished Products, OFP, in Novo Nordisk. So yeah, production supporter. It doesn't say a lot. I will get back to what it really is. But first, I will just go through what really attracted me about this job. Because, of course, when you stand after your education and are looking for jobs, there's so many opportunities. And you read a lot of posts on LinkedIn and on internet and so. And everything, some sounds very, very difficult, first of all. And some just sounds like, I don't know, it's very hard to understand the job just by reading a job post. So I actually just applied for a bunch of different positions, both in Novo Nordisk and other companies, and ended up getting a offer to join Oral Finished Product as a production supporter. And what really attracted me about this job versus some of the other jobs I got into interviews with was that this is a whole new area, both for Novo Nordisk, but also actually for the medical industry. Putting proteins in a tablet, it's not something you just do every day, and it's a brand new area. So that really attracted me, that this area in Novo Nordisk were kind of first movers on this topic. And it also had a lot of focus internally in Novo Nordisk. So it was kind of the place to be at the moment. Also, it was a relatively new area in Novo Nordisk. It wasn't that big when I first started. So that actually also attracted me quite a lot, that I had the opportunity to develop with the team I was in. So I wasn't just put in a position where everything was set and I knew exactly what to do all the time. It was a brand new area that had to develop as well as I had. Another thing that attracted me was that, again, this being a new area, you got responsibility from day one. There wasn't a lot of training. It was more training on the job, which attracts me. But of course, in Novo Nordisk, when you start, you always get a mentor. So you're not alone, and you don't have to have all the responsibility if you're not comfortable with it. So of course, there's always somebody having your back, being at such a big company. But for me, it was really nice just to see that I could get my own task and my own actions from the very beginning, and not doing a lot of training the first half year. And again, this being a whole new area, it also attracted me that there wasn't any we used to, or no, because we have always. It was a new area moving forward. So I was able to come with my ideas, even though I was brand new from school. I was able to come with my ideas and actually develop with the area, and also give my inputs, and being able to form the production as it is today. So this was really what attracted me as this job position in Novo Nordisk. So production supporter, what is it? Production supporter, as the name says, it's a job very closely linked to the production, where you support the production. And you support the production in so many ways. So I have just tried to list some of the work tasks or work area you have being a supporter in OFP manufacturing development. But in general, you're actually supporting the production from start to finish. So in my case, from powder to tablets. So before the production starts, I have to prepare all the production related documents. I have to make sure that the facility and equipment is ready for use. I have to have a production plan, so which processes to do which days and which resources to use. I also have to make sure that we have all excipients in the facility so that we actually can produce a tablet. And also I have to make sure that the employees connected to the process is adequately trained. And if they're not, maybe I also have the responsibility to perform the training. During the production, I of course have to support the production in the production room. I have to go to daily production meetings. I have to handle unexpected events, and that can be of many, many different kind of things. I have to do a lot of replanning if my first plan didn't work out as I thought. And I also have to review a lot of the production documents. So that's during the production. After the production, I of course have to make sure that the facility and equipment is ready for the next production. We produce not 24/7, but we produce almost every day. And we shift the production between various products all the time. So I have to make sure that the facility is ready. But then I also have to make sure that the product we produce is released so that it can be shipped out to patients. In my case, patients included in clinical trials. So this is a lot of tasks. And if you're a bit overwhelmed, I understand. But there's actually no days are similar when you are a supporter in OFP MDiv. So I will just use a few minutes on telling a bit short story from my job, and I have called it a typical day as supporter during production, and typical because there's no typical day as a supporter in production, but because everything can actually happen. But this is just a little short story from my job. So it was a few months back. So I was just being a supporter, sitting by my computer at my office when I got a call from the production. So the people inside the production room said that during production they found a bolt on this machine that had to be replaced. So I got up from my comfortable chair in the office and I started calling our technical support department, where I got the reply that, I'm sorry, but we don't have any more of these bolts in storage. Okay, then I had to call another production site to hear if they maybe had any more bolts in storage. Luckily for me, they had extra bolts that I could borrow. So that was the plan going forward. I contacted both technical support and the production that we can have these extra bolts. But before I could just implement it in our facility, I had to call our quality assurance department to make sure that they was okay with the plan. Lucky for me again, they were okay, and they said okay for everything related to product quality. As this calling back and forth took a few days, we also had a bit of a delay in our production. So last, I also had to call clinical supply, our customer in this case, and let them know about our delays. And again, luckily for me, they were okay with the small delay and they were also able to replan. So this is actually a typical day for a supporter, just using a lot of time talking to a lot of different people trying to solve the problem at hand. So for me, this job as a production supporter was actually the greatest first job in Novo Nordisk because it gave me a unique process knowledge. And again, there were no typical days at all. Every day were different. Maybe they had the same theme of being in production, but you had to solve so many problems and so many different problems during the day that I would say that there's no typical days as a supporter. Also, you have a great mix of both office and production-based work. So approximately half of the time you're sitting in front of your computer, writing on production-related documents and so on. But you also have a lot of time in the production room and getting really close to the process and again, gaining this unique process knowledge. As you can see from the slide before, you also have a huge collaboration with many areas, both inside Novo Nordisk, inside your own department, but also with the external vendors. You have a very action-packed day and you have to act fast. Of course, we cannot delay our production very much. So if we have an issue, we need to solve it on the spot so that we can get on with our production. And last but not least, the thing that really made this job great for me is that you're learning on the spot. So you learn alongside, you're just doing the job and learning every day. So every time a new problem came up, you learn from it and then you store it in your backpack and you just use that knowledge when solving the next problem. So yes, being a supporter is really a great start into Novo Nordisk. It's also a great job to have in a long time, but it's also a great start just to gain a lot of process knowledge and know the Novo Nordisk way of working. Just a few minutes left for some questions, and then I can also say that if you have further questions, you are available. You are encouraged to book available one-to-one slots if there anyone left, but also just write in our chat in the Novo Nordisk stall. So yes, I guess that was my presentation here today.
Thank you so much, Maria Bjerre, joining us from Novo Nordisk, an official Synapse partner. We really appreciate the presentation and just to learn about your journey here from pharmaceutical student to working on the production line here and making sure that people get their medicines.
Exactly.
It's very exciting. I'll hand it over to Maya now, if there's a few questions maybe.
No questions has showed up, but I can just, I have a question myself.
Yes.
So what is your best advice for people who really want to apply for a position in Novo Nordisk? Because for some it might seem over challenging considering the size and the influence that Novo has in the industry. So what did you do to stand out in the crowd?
Actually, the process of just applying for a job, I did it the old-fashioned way. I just saw a job post on the internet and applied via the web page. And again, for also why I said that the supporter jobs are a great way of getting into Novo Nordisk. When you read the applications, they actually just says that you need to have a technical background or a academic background. So it's really a good first starting job. And Novo Nordisk also encourage new educated people to apply for these production supporter jobs. So about standing out, I guess that do not focus so much on your specific courses that you have during your education, but focus more on the overall skills that you have gained. Have you been involved in some kind of projects, or what have you learned from the project managing skills? Because that's also a great factor here in Novo Nordisk. We are all like mini project managers in our everyday life because we have to handle so many problems on the spot.
Good, thanks. That was definitely good advice. I think more people can use that. I think it's time for our next speaker.
Yeah, at this point, there's no more questions in the live forum here. But as Maria said, we encourage any and all attendees out there to look Novo Nordisk up on Graduate Land and book one of the remaining one-to-one sessions to get all your questions answered.
Yes.
So thank you very much for now, Maria.
Yeah, thank you. And bye.
Bye now. All right. We'll just give it, hi, yes.
Hello, everybody.
We'll just give it another few seconds before starting, so just to allow people to transition.
Absolutely, and I'll just see if I can figure out how to include my company name along with my name here in my presentation. Let's see, it should be up here. Rename, there we go.
You have some very nice posters in the background, we can see. Cool.
Well, you know. Now, everybody can tell who I am.
Brilliant. You have been identified. All right. Well, everyone who's joining us now in Auditorium 1, we'd cordially like to welcome Jes Andersen from Copenhagen Science City, who is responsible for communications and outreach. And we'll hand it over to you now, Jes. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Are you able to share your screen?
I should be able to. So I'll just start with that. Here's my slideshow. Just a sanity check. Can you see my slides?
We can see it coming through.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'm here to share with you some tips and tricks about finding jobs in startup companies. And as you can see here just below me, my name is Jes Andersen. I represent Copenhagen Science City, and we are an innovation district in the heart of Copenhagen, where we have about 350 innovation-intensive startups in a number of startup communities. Part of my job has been to try to connect startup companies to students at the University of Copenhagen. And during that work, it started dawning on me that finding work with startup companies is a little bit different from finding jobs just about everywhere else. So I started asking a bunch of startup founders and people who've been working with startups for a long while, what's the job scene like in startup companies, and tried to boil it down to the following 6 tips. Now, first of all, let's see if I can figure out how to change the slide. There we go. First of all, I should just tell you that a little bit more about Copenhagen Science City. Like I said, it's an innovation district. We're in the heart of the Danish capital. Those of you familiar with Copenhagen may recognize here this big light blue blob of buildings is the University Hospital Rigshospitalet. The dark blue ones here are the University of Copenhagen Faculty of Health and Medical Sciences, and the green ones are the University of Copenhagen Faculty of Science. The red ones are for a nursing school. And all the yellow ones you see here around are startup communities. Now, I should start by saying a few words about why you would even want to work for a startup. As far as I'm concerned, well, first of all, it's fun. Startup companies tend to be very intense because, well, they're starting up and everything is new and fresh. For you as a young person starting in a business, it's a great way to gain experience because you're going to be asked to do things that are above and beyond what you were trained for, and they're going to expect you to shine. Also, you're going to learn a lot about what business is, and believe me, that's not something that you're learning at university. So, like I said, the job scene for for startups is a little bit different than it is for bigger companies. People who run startups are usually so busy trying to build their product and finding customers that they can't really take the time out to post jobs to a job site or put an advertisement in the newspaper and all that kind of stuff. So they just hire through their network. Now, if you're not part of the network, how do you even get them to hire you? Well, the first step in that is that you start looking for employers, not for job advertisements. And how do you find startup companies? Well, you start by going to the startup communities. Now, startup communities are sort of like office hotels, but specifically aimed at startup companies. In Copenhagen Science City, like I said, we have 6 startup communities. We've created a website within our website, so Copenhagen Science City. If you use the web address at the bottom of this slide, www.startupjobs.dk, you'll get straight to the website we've created. Don't be confused when you actually arrive there and it says Copenhagen Science City, find jobs with startups and scale-ups. So anyway, we've created this website where you have a direct link from the website to the company listing of each and every startup community. So you go into these, click on the startup listings, and then you find all the companies. Like I said, there's 350 of them. So you're likely to find somebody who's doing something you like. What you want to look for when you go through the companies, when you scroll down the listings, is look for companies that are doing something that you would really like to succeed. If it makes you feel good in the morning when you get up, you're going to want to work hard for them. And you're going to be able to tell them when you finally do meet them, I would love to see your company succeed, and you'll be able to explain why. So you find the companies that you would love to see succeed. And then you try to figure out how you can help them succeed. And for that, you need to turn the camera around. Hang on a bit. There we are. So once you've found these companies that you want to work for, you start looking at yourself. What can you contribute to help the company succeed? You've got your education, of course, that's important, but you've also got a background of some sort. Maybe you come from a different country, a different culture. That's important. It might be able to help the company when they're trying to expand into new markets. Maybe you have several languages. Again, important because it might help the company when they're trying to expand or find subcontractors and so on. So you know languages, you know other cultures. You also have a personal cultural background. Maybe you come from a rich background. Maybe you come from a poor background. Maybe you come from a cultured background. I actually once helped a newly graduated doctor of medicine to find a job with a medical pharmaceutical company. And she got the job because she told them she could play the piano at a concert level. Now, they probably didn't need a piano player, but that showed them something about her personality. Also, she was going to be selling high-end pharmaceutical products to somebody who's probably from the upper classes, so they could tell that she spoke their language. Now, with that, you start networking. Now you want to become part of the network that these companies hire from. How do you do that? Well, you can go on LinkedIn or whatever other social media these companies are on, and you start a conversation with the companies that you want to work for. slightly harder is that you start a conversation in person. You actually go to network meetings, physical network meetings. There are not so many of them right now because of Corona, but they are there. Find the startup communities. They're hosting lots of events. Go to the events, start conversations. Maybe you would actually like to get to know people before you go there. So find people working for the companies that you want to work for, contact them on LinkedIn. And when you're going to the network events, tell them you'll be there, ask them for 5 minutes of their time. You could also prove your worth. Send the company that you want to work for a sample of your work. It might be an idea for a new process. It might be an idea for a new customer. It might be an idea for something to do with their website. Whatever you have special knowledge of, where you know that your idea will be worth something, send it to them. They might not hire you on the basis of it, but you're going to have more ideas. So prove your worth to the company, and in the process of that, also remember always to tell them why you'd love to see the company succeed and what you can do to help them succeed. Now, you can also send an unsolicited application. Hang on, I just need to see where I am in my, right, yes. You can also send them an unsolicited application. You're allowed to do that any day of the year. It's okay to send unsolicited applications, especially if you remember the 2 key tips. Explain to the company why you would love to see them succeed and how you can help them succeed. Then you can send an unsolicited application saying what kind of job you're hoping to get. There are, of course...
Sorry
Yep.
to interject. I just wanted to give a brief 2-minute warning.
Thank you very much. I will absolutely be done in 2 minutes. There are, of course, greater moments to send an unsolicited application. If you're following these companies, you will see them post stuff about they've just gotten funding. Hey, they've got money, they can hire you. They're expanding to a new market. Hey, whether they have money or not, they need to hire you. So follow the money, follow the good news from this company. Even follow something like, we're going to have to lay some staff off because that means that they've just fired somebody and they probably have to hire somebody else. That could be you. Unsolicited applications I just covered. And finally, if you want to find networking events where you have a chance of meeting your future employer, start following Copenhagen Science City on LinkedIn. We post lots of these events. You might be able to find the right event where you'll be able to meet the employer of your dreams. And with that, good luck to you.
All right. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for your presentation coming to us from Copenhagen Science City. It's a fantastic initiative, and I'm sure that many of our attendees out there will be finding their way to your website soon enough to take the next step in their career, perhaps within a startup. At this point, I think we have one question coming through online, and we just have half a minute to a minute for it.
Yeah, it's just a very quick question. It's
sure.
I have trouble entering the Startup Jobs DK website. Is the web address correct?
It should be. I just tested it about an hour ago. Sorry, if you're having trouble, go to CopenhagenScienceCity.dk instead, and just look for where it says students. Students find jobs with startups and scale-ups.
Fantastic. All right. So at this point, we'd like to encourage our attendees to head over to sign up for a one-to-one session, one of the last remaining ones with the Copenhagen Science City, if you have some more questions there. And otherwise, I think we'll say thank you to Jes Andersen for now. And
thank you.
Thank you. So if you could press stop sharing.
I have just done that. The
Super.
screen is all yours.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And I'm just promoting our next panelists here.
Hello.
Hi, Kirill. Hi, Matthias. Joining us from McKinsey and Company. So we have Kirill Prokhorov. Excuse me if I'm not pronouncing that correctly.
That's perfect. Better than many people.
Okay, thank you. Who is engagement manager at McKinsey and Company. And is it Annette joining us? No, it is.
No, just us, me and Matthias.
Okay, sorry, I had it wrong on my list. And Matthias Gede, also from McKinsey and Company. So to everyone out there, if you are joining us afresh in Auditorium 1, we welcome you and would like to give the floor to Kirill and Matthias. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicholas. And good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Kirill. I'm an engagement manager from McKinsey. I have been with the firm for 4 years now, and I'm really glad and excited about sharing some of this experience with you today. The key message that I want to push across in this presentation is basically we need more people like you, like with the life science and STEM background, because we really believe in McKinsey in diversity from all the perspectives and really trying hard to get different perspectives. So also just one thing to mention. So today in this presentation, it's me and Matthias, but we also have a parallel Zoom booth going on. So where you can ask more questions and talk to some of our STEM and life science consultants. And if you want to do that, just try to find our profile on Graduate-Land, and there you will find you will surely see a link to this Zoom meeting that you can join and follow through. We're there until 6:30. In this presentation today, I would like to start just maybe explaining a little bit more, elaborate a little bit more on what we do and who we are and why we believe in more life science profiles. And then I would have my colleague Matthias sharing his own personal McKinsey journey and why it was important for him and relevant for him as a life science background student. And where I would like to start is with this quote made by our global managing partner, Kevin Sneeder. In the nutshell, what he's saying is basically our world is not getting less complicated. It's getting more complicated. And I think 2020 was basically a landmark of that with all COVID and other complicalities. And what it means for many organizations and people all over the world is that it's not just enough the knowledge and expertise that they have for themselves. It's not always enough to fight these global challenges. And they need to kind of tap into some other pools of expertise and knowledge and get more people around to solve those problems jointly. And this is exactly the place where McKinsey wants to be in, kind of to try to be the tool to channel this expertise and different knowledge and intellectual capacity to where the problems are, to help different organizations and different people to actually solve those challenges. So this is high level, but let me also elaborate a little bit more what that practically means. So what it practically means is that at McKinsey, we work with clients on projects. And when I say clients, I mean a diversity of different organizations. So we obviously work with business corporations. Many of the biggest companies in Denmark are our clients. But we also extensively work with the public sector companies, including the healthcare institutions, to make an example. We're also working with non-governmental organizations. And increasingly, recently, so we are working with startups, because we realize that if we want to live in a better future, perhaps we need to invest and help those who are investing in this better future already now. Then I said we are working on projects. What I actually mean by projects? And this is again a diverse thing. So we help companies and organizations to develop their strategies. How can how an organization can grow, kind of double the size in 5 years from now? What markets should they enter? But it's also, for example, how do we act in COVID situation? How we adapt our workforce and kind of our ways of working to enable efficient remote collaboration in the company. It can also be something around how can we make our drug pipeline more efficient so that we can bring more drugs in faster if we are talking about the pharmaceutical companies. So different types of projects. Then we also work with clients. And what I mean by working with clients is that basically we are not sitting on our ivory tower locked in our office trying to crunch a lot of data to provide the right answer. We're actually talking to people on an everyday basis. So we're sitting down with our clients, trying to kind of understand their context, understand their problems, problem solve on potential solutions, crunch data with them, or at least gather some data with them to crunch, and then kind of refine our recommendations together with them to make them actionable and make them implementable in a given organization. And what it means is that obviously, or more or less, my day is packed with client meetings, and this is where I also get a lot of energy. Not just sitting in front of my computer trying to do a lot of PowerPoint slides. And then the third bullet is that obviously I'm relying on my knowledge and experience, which I'm getting every year at McKinsey, but I'm also trying to tap into the broad set of knowledge and network of experts that we have broadly in the firm. So basically our ambition is to, whatever problem you have, perhaps we have somebody in the firm who has been trying to solve this problem efficiently 500 times before, and why then don't we just connect you to that specific person so that you as a client can actually try to find out yourself how to solve the problem with our help. So this is what we do. So now let's talk a little bit about what that practically means for our consultants, for people who are working for us, right? So one, it means that I'm really excited about trying to solve big problems and try to create impact for society in general. It also means that working with clients, I'm building relationship and building my communication skills. And some of these relationships, they typically span beyond just the projects that we have. In many consultants, they actually end up working for the companies that they served as consultants before, because they built this relationship and because they were so passionate about the problem that they were solving that they decided to continue making this impact more like employees. And finally, it also means a lot of learning and development. Just because you will be thrown at different industries, at different clients, you'll be working with different types of people on different topics. And just kind of by being exposed to these diverse experiences, you'll be learning so much so quickly that, that you will see a very steep progression. So let me maybe also double click on this development topic, because this is typically what drives attention of candidates towards McKinsey. So let me elaborate on that. So when I talk about the development opportunities, there are multiple instruments that we use at McKinsey to help you develop, because we intrinsically believe that that we have incentives to invest in people as much as possible, because these people, the consultants, are the ones who are creating value for our clients. So the more we can invest in them, the better value that they can earn for our clients. So it's quite a straightforward logic, right? So one instrument that we are using is basically we are putting people into interdisciplinary teams. So I've been working with many different nationalities and cultures on different topics. I was working with designers, data scientists, just normal consultants, people with a business background, people with a STEM background, people with political background. And by just, again, being exposed to this diversity, I learned quite a lot. Another tool that we're using is this feedback culture. So basically what it practically means is that I'm, as a project manager, on bi-weekly basis, I'm sitting with every member of my team for half an hour to discuss two things. One is what this person is doing great and should leverage continuously, and what are the things that this person can act on to make even a better kind of advice to our client. And as intimidating as it may sound to discuss your performance with somebody on bi-weekly basis, I actually find this a great tool to develop, because every second week I will be told what I'm doing great and will be appreciated for these efforts. But I would be also given some practical advice and actionable things on how I can be better. And I find that intimidating first, but then very helpful later. And obviously, we are putting people through a lot of more formal, comprehensive training. So over the last 4 years that I've been with McKinsey, I've been to the US, to Austria, to Netherlands, to Sweden for week-long training sessions on different kind of types of topics, which was a good opportunity, obviously, to learn something new about different things, but which was also a great thing to get to know some of the people in the less formal settings. Before I give the word to Matthias, maybe just one thing is that actually, if you believe that we are only business people sitting in McKinsey, it's actually not true. By the end of 2020, we expect that at least 25% of our consultants will have STEM background, so science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. And actually, the business profiles will be a minority in McKinsey. And this is all because we believe in diversity. And we believe that the more diverse teams and profiles you have in the firm, the better the results you would generate, or the better answers that you will generate for our clients. With this being said, let me hand over to Matthias, who can share his own personal story about the firm.
Good. Thank you, Kirill. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Coming through loud and clear.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kirill. Hey everyone, so I'm Matthias, and let me talk you through my journey in McKinsey. Before jumping into it, I'd like to give a bit of background on me. So I graduated from DTU 2 years ago with a master in chemical and biochemical engineering. And ever since that, I've been trying out a lot of different things across multiple functions and industries in McKinsey. The overarching 3 elements that I keep turning back to, it seems, is 1, digitization, 2 is pharmaceuticals and healthcare, and 3 is organizational transformations. And in some of those, I have a background, which I'd like to discuss or comment on now and explain you how I use my background as an engineer. And in some of them, I was also new when I joined McKinsey. But I plotted in on this little journey roadmap. All of the projects in McKinsey where I actually been able to use my background as an engineer. Also, I've been plotting in some of the trainings because we very much treasure 2 things in McKinsey. One is our clients, that we want to deliver impact to them. But second, and equally important, to develop ourselves as future professionals and leaders. And in order to do that, we also tailor a lot of trainings to be able to share this knowledge that we build up. So the first 2 weeks when I joined, we went on a basic consulting training in Sweden, where we got all the fundamental skills in order to start on new projects.
Matthias, sorry to interject. I just wanted to give a 2-minute warning.
That's fantastic. Thanks. The first project then I joined was with a pharmaceutical company, where I was put directly at day 1 into an interview where I could leverage some of my knowledge from my master's degree. Actually, I think it was more coincidence than anything, but it showed that even though that we are working on a strategic level, the scientific background that I have actually been helping me in each of every one of these small dots. I don't have time to elaborate. Feel free to join us in the Zoom meeting later, and I'll be happy to talk more about it. One thing I would like to highlight is that I went on a project with a healthcare organization where we built a supercomputer for personal medicine, where I was also again fusing both engineering and also my knowledge about how should we actually analyze DNA in order to give personal medicine. That's just one of many. Thanks for the floor. Thanks for the time.
Yes, and as Matthias mentioned, feel free to join our Zoom booth. Just find us at Graduate and follow the link over there. Thanks a lot and enjoy your day.
Thank you so much, Kirill and Matthias. Really appreciate it. And just to reiterate that to all our attendees out there, just navigate on Graduate Land to McKinsey & Company's booth, and you can find a link there to go set up a one-on-one conversation with them. So we really appreciate your time, both of you, and have a continued nice day. All right. right. And next we will be hearing from Simon and Cooker and Partners. And joining us here is Alexander Christian, who is a consultant there, and Omar Ahmad, who is managing partner. And for anyone who's joining us out there, welcome again to this last session of the Synapse Life Science Career Fair 2020. And we'll be going out with a fantastic presentation here, I know. So the floor is yours, guys. Thank you.
Super. Thank you very much. Well, first of all, welcome to the Synapse Career Fair, where I have the pleasure of introducing Simon Kucher and Partners. My name is Omar Ahmed. I'm a managing partner of the Copenhagen office. Been at the company now over 20 years. Had a small stint in between at some startups. Always been part of the life science division, and I'm proud to present a little bit about the work we do here. And I'm also joined by one of my colleagues, Alexander Christian, who's a consultant in the life science division, been here for nearly 2 years. And we also have 2 other consultants who are joining the one-to-one sessions that are happening. So we actually want to cover 3 things: a little bit about who we are, what we do, and Alex will spend the last 5 minutes talking about why us, why Simon Kucher, and what we can actually offer in terms of career opportunities. Simon Kucher at a glance. So I think the best way to explain what Simon Kucher does is that we focus on the sunny side of the P&L, and the sunny side of the P&L basically means that we focus on commercial excellence or commercial strategy, marketing, pricing, and sales. Anything to do with the dark side of the P&L, so cost cutting, restructuring, and so on. It's not a focus area. There are better consultants out there. And with this specialization, we've been fortunate enough to actually have tremendous growth over the many years. So we've grown on average of 18% year on year, basically mean doubling every 5 years. We're around 1,400 employees around the world, 39 offices, 25 countries, and have around 350 million euro revenue base. Now, that is life science as a whole. Now, if you deep dive a little bit where me and Alexander are actually working, is actually within the life science division. And in the life science division, we're around 245 employees worldwide. I think we're around 300 now. And we are basically dedicated to the life science division. That means that from the day you start till the day you become a partner or move on to the industry, you're only working in the life science division, which means all the projects that fall into that realm. We actually work from 21 offices out of the 38. So we have actually a dedicated life science team in most of our Simon Kucher offices. We contribute around a quarter of our revenue. And we cover not just pharma, but a wide range of actually subsectors within the life science space that I'll talk about in just a second. We are the biggest revenue contributor when it comes to for Simon Kucher as a whole, around 25%. Actually, the company, when it was founded 30 years ago, was founded by Herman Sun and Eka Cooper. One of the focus areas was the pharma industry and actually the pricing of drugs. Given that 10 years of development, millions of investment made in the clinical aspects of it, and then of course variable cost being zero, getting the price right is alpha omega to determine the success. And the guys at that time built some of the groundbreaking pricing methodologies to measure willingness to pay, and that has since basically spread to the other areas. So life science contributes a little bit, 25% of the total. We obviously cover other industries, but focus obviously being on life sciences today. And within life sciences, we're actually lucky to cover a wide variety of different subsectors. Obviously, pharma is one of our bigger practices. So here we work for 24 of the top 25 largest pharmaceutical companies, medtech, diagnostic. We work for 40 of the top 45 leading diagnostic companies, biotech for the 5 largest biotech companies, even vaccines, big topic right nowadays, especially with the COVID ongoing. We work for the 4 of the top 5 vaccine manufacturers, health IT. Very interesting topic that has picked up, especially in the latest years, what are new digital therapeutics, health IT systems, software tools that can help diagnose and even support treatment of patients. We also work a little bit on the B2B side, life sciences. So these are suppliers to the pharma industry or to the medtech industry, whether it's contract manufacturing, clinical research organizations, or contract development, or even down to toxicology companies that supports testing of drugs on patients. OTC, CHC, we've also done quite a fair bit of work in this space, over 200 projects in this, so consumer health, over-the-counter drugs, you can buy without a prescription, etc. Wholesalers and distributors, we have a whole team looking at that. Pharmacy and retailers, obviously an interesting area. And then actually the last one, which I found quite, is healthcare providers, so working for hospitals, clinics, dental clinics, hearing aid clinics, etc., to help them optimize their commercial, practices. So all in all, wide variety of subsectors, very different in, the challenges they face and also how to attack it, but still within the life science umbrella. We are global, and I think Alex will talk a little bit about that. 245 professionals, as mentioned, 21 offices, all the red dots. What you see here is actually where we have a life sciences team, including in Copenhagen. Actually, not the red, the blue are where we have a life science team. We come from a wide variety of backgrounds. So I think a round of half, or a little bit less than half, are from a business background, but we also have quite significant people from the social sciences and life sciences and engineering and so on, to provide a good mix, which makes, working in life sciences quite interesting because we have people with a diversity of backgrounds. So what do we do? I think, this is a slide. We actually have more of an internal slide, but I thought it'd be interesting to show you kind of the breadth of the work and topics that we cover, and that's, everything is around what we call top line power in the middle, but, commercial strategy, marketing, sales, pricing, and market access, and of course, digitalization being a hot topic nowadays, and also transformation. And, anything, within strategy, for simple innovation strategy or portfolio development, to channel mix optimization, tender big deal management and sales, to customer segmentation, prioritization, or even conducting a launch readiness for a new innovative product or blockbuster product being launched. And within the marketing space, and then of course within pricing and market access, life cycle price management, how do you manage a device or a drug over the course of the year in terms of price, product, and place positioning? Market access, how do you ensure that this drug can be reimbursed or funded in different markets around the world? And then of course we do a lot of work on digitalization, which is, I said, a topic that has picked up very much late in the years, whether it's digital strategies or go-to-market strategies and so on. And at the same time, working on transforming some companies to be better lean from a commercial perspective within the new realities. Also a topic that's becoming more and more relevant, especially in light of COVID, where a lot of companies have to change their sales models because the traditional relationship between a salesperson and a healthcare professional, a physician, not being able to meet face-to-face obviously poses a new set of commercial models that is required to be successful in the new norm. So very interesting areas I think we work on. And a little bit about some of the projects. Here's just a list of types of projects that we worked on, just to give you a wide variety of what we do in LS. In pharma, I think this was last year project we did on Salesforce optimization, territory allocation. So basically saying, how do you split US into different regions? And within the regions, how many salespeople do you need? How many times they should visit clinicians, with what messages and what product offers. And so building that whole sales strategy up. Wound care manufacturer, looking at segmentation, because wound care is not just a simple bandages, but different types of wound care product has different therapeutic benefits, which targets different indications. Some are good for burns, some are good for diabetic foot ulcers, some are good for, orthopedics, or wound closure, etc. And then figuring out what wound care product fits to what indication is actually quite an interesting exercise that can help the salespeople, be able to communicate the value of the product a lot better to the thing. Health IT companies, we did a project on pricing and packaging, and obviously when you have an IT, a software, you have many different ways of adjusting the product solution. So how do you actually price and package things, turn on, off different features to be able to maximize the value to the customer and also charge accordingly. This is actually a clinical decision support solution. So basically helping healthcare professionals make better clinical decisions based on input of how they actually view the patient. A private hospital, very interesting project actually we did in the UK, where we basically assess different pricing opportunities and develop a governance structure. And specifically, this is very much about the copay part. So, patients, had insurances and there was a copay element to it, but this copay element was not being paid because they had different internal processes and the communication was incorrect. So we actually worked on developing, how much, where to charge and how to charge, where to waiver, and how to collect these things in an ethical way. So very interesting project that we just completed last year. So that was a little bit about Simon Kucher, a little bit about the work we do, and a little bit about the project we do. And I thought you might as well hear a little bit from Alexander Christian, who can share a little bit of his experiences working with Simon Kucher.
Yeah, thank you, Omar. I'm Alex. I've just a little bit of introduction. I've worked previous 2 years, Simon Kucher in the Copenhagen office in the life science division. So just want to, in the next few slides, explain why Simon Kucher might be a unique offering, in terms of consultancies, particularly within the life sciences division. And one of the main reasons is the international exposure and scope of our projects. And if we just go to the next slide. So although you may be based in the Copenhagen office, like me, or you're based in the Munich office, or whichever office you're based in, it doesn't dictate where your projects are going to be. It doesn't dictate that you're only going to be working with Danish clients or German clients. In fact, the majority of our projects are in multiple markets with international companies and a huge international scope. We've had over 350 in the US in the last 3 years, 1,700 with the 5 largest EU countries, and as well as 280 in Asia and 800 with an emerging market being in key focus. And so with the international scope of projects, in the next slide, Omar, we get international opportunities. So Omar and I have had the pleasure of traveling together to India for a project. I've traveled to Germany and England as well on multiple projects. Colleagues in the office have done work in Mexico, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, Canada. So we've really, your home office does not dictate the scope, variety, or clients that you'll be working with. And one of the strong benefits of Simon Kucher is that we are working with a strong international scope. Additionally, there's the opportunity for office rotation, something nice that Simon Kucher does, that you can, for 3 to 6 months, choose an office that you'd want to work at after you've worked here for 2 years, and you can work in that office for 6 months with new clients, new projects, new team members, and get to experience a new city and culture as well, which is a really big selling point, I think, at Simon Kucher. If you go on the next slide, I'm just conscious of time as well. So that being said as well, our project setup is very different. We have on-site projects, the classic consulting, 3 to 4 days, working on the client side, discussing things with the client and working very closely. We then also have projects where we, particularly now in Corona times, where teams are either based in the same office or you're working with teams based on different offices. And again, these are unique experience and perspectives. And then just on the next slide. So finally, we have a really dynamic projects and dynamic market environment in life sciences. No 2 projects are the same. It's a bit of a cliche, but it's certainly true. Even things like regulation changes, client perspectives, internal client politics, market trends, just unique differences in value propositions of assets of clients, whether that's consumer healthcare, medical technology, or a big blockbuster pharmaceutical drug, all lead to nuances, changes in strategy, and therefore changes in our work style and approach and findings. And then just finally, I see if we've just hit the 6 o'clock mark, you can find information on our stall on Graduate Land. Feel free to reach out to myself on LinkedIn, book a one-to-one, or go on our website, simonkucher.com. And we look forward to speaking with you.
All right. Thank you so much to both you, Omar, and you, Alexander, for that fantastic presentation. We really appreciate it. And to all our attendees out there, please do, as Alexander just allowed for, reach out on LinkedIn if you would like to learn some more about Simon Kucher and Partners. And maybe that's an exciting next step for a career. So for now, I think we'll say thank you to both of you.
Thank you.
Move on to some concluding remarks. All right. And to those of you still in Auditorium 1, we would just like at the Synapse here to say thank you very much for attending the 2020 Synapse Life Science Career Fair, and have a few slides just to plug some upcoming Synapse events that might interest you. All right. So just around the corner, in fact, already on the 6th of October, it says on the slide here down the bottom left corner, 4:45 till 8 o'clock, we have our very anticipated annual event. To PhD or not to PhD, as some of our speakers have touched on today, this is a big question in a person coming from the life sciences career path. Should I choose to do a PhD, or are there other pathways that might excite me more that wouldn't require staying in academia for that while longer? And then we'd also like to plug our quarterly journal magazine here from Synapse. The previous one was on AI and big data within healthcare. You can find it online, and it is also in print version at the various universities around here. And also, we are recruiting at Synapse. If you are interested in becoming a core team member and working on some of these exciting events where we get to interact with lots of different companies within the life science industry and academia, please do send us your application. The deadline to apply is, as it says, 11th of October, and all universities are welcome to apply. So at this point, I think Maya and I
will say thank you.
We'll say thank you very much.
And we'll also thank you to Valerie, who just texted, thanks for a really well-organized event. This platform is super nice. So we're just really happy that you wanted to participate in this online format, and hope everyone got something out of it.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you. And if you want to learn more about Synapse, please just find us on our webpage or on social media. But for now, broadcasting live from the Mast Tower at Panum, Copenhagen University, we will close the line. Thank you very much.